Hey y'all, it's the CollabCast, and today it's Casual Friday. We're here sort of in the midst of the release of the Creatives Under 40 issue, which is getting a lot of buzz, and it's just been great to see people pick up, especially on Arzu's cover, which is just gorgeous, and I'm glad we got to work with her. But it was a real pleasure to do that, and to see so many people digging into the work of all these folks was really refreshing and nice this week. So I don't know, what did you think?
Yeah, no, it was good to talk to people who have worked with each of these creatives on a regular basis, or like have known them for a very long time, and we're really excited to see them get this kind of attention, which was good, and just to also help us like lean out of our general circle. I think that's important. So learning about new projects and things that are happening and like different forms of art and like what it could mean, because we went, I feel like, outside the bounds a little bit, in terms of people like Kristen Diot, who does like more architecture and like infrastructure in the community. And I think when you're talking about general genres that we're covering, you think, clearly architecture, design, that's an amazing art form and something that's like so definitive of culture and time and our history and such like that. But the projects that she's working on have been super interesting to see, like how to make infrastructures work for the community. So like so many people who are doing their art to help make the community better, which is something that I think was kind of just happening when we started doing this. When we were choosing people, it was because everything they were doing was for a larger purpose or for a larger group. Yeah. Which is just like really great.
Yeah, and Michael Oatman's comments about working with Kristen were very powerful, in terms of this guy who obviously has quite a legacy, being able to just sort of gushing over the work she's done. And you see that a lot. It looks like these folks who are established are helping folks get off to the next level, which sometimes goes unnoticed. But I think obviously we need more of that in the area.
Right.
Passing the baton and helping folks get a leg up.
That like mentorship.
Yeah.
Kind of. Cool.
But I thought it was fun. We just yesterday wrapped up a video shoot with Josh Cletto from Nighthawks band, the Brule County Bad Boys, and he's someone, obviously he's a chef, but music. He's also a musician, and sort of hearing him talk about how he has to stay in touch with that to keep himself sane. Basically, it speaks to that sort of creative spirit, and to have him in that setting was obviously different than maybe going to see him cook some food or eat at Nighthawk. So it's been cool to see people in these different settings and approach it in unexpected ways.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And we're going to do it again next year. So we hope everyone will keep thinking about the folks who are making the area a better place with their art and creativity. Yeah. And also, if you're looking for issues, we're happy to bring them to you. So let us know.
It's pretty much what it's come to at this point.
Ouch.
If you're in a place and you thought you were getting issues and you didn't and you want them, just reach out to one of us and we'll bring you some, because whatever. We'll figure it out.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. We're here to serve, We just are doing our best.
That was very positive.
I'm working on it.
I won't share what you said about your morning, but
it's been a long one.
Yeah, it's been.
It's all right. We're here now. That's all that matters. I'm trying to look forward.
Yeah. So speaking of which, we're sort of here to do a breakdown of some local, some local music. Got to dig out of the hole. There's been a lot of. It's a time of year where we're seeing a lot of interesting national and local releases. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the local releases first. There's been a bunch of stuff that's caught my eye. And I think one of the things you have insight into is the release of the new Prince Daddy and the Hyena video, and obviously the anticipation for the new album has been pretty big. And they're a band that in some ways has already transcended the area, but they recorded the album here, right? And the video was shot here, as far as
They recorded the album not here. I'm actually not, I can't remember where they recorded that
No
album.
worries.
But they recorded
We'll just edit that out.
Yeah. No, but they did film that video here, and I got to sit in on it for a portion of the video, which was really fun and chaotic and just like very on brand for them. And it's just like, I don't know. I think what's really cool about them is that they're very reflective of like that aspect of the music community around here, is like where everybody's willing to like dig in and do whatever they have to do to make something happen if there's a vision, and they're willing to like take on the camera or like play a part on screen or like do whatever they need to do. And these really creative music videos that are coming out of the area too, like we just saw like Scum Couch did that really amazing
the Scummies
music video. Yes, and he's Mark O'Brien does like such great work, like just in terms of video production of this really like avant-garde and experimental kind of thing. And like he just did the video for Greens. Just like a lot of cool stuff. There's a new Good Fiction video out today that kind of reminds me of the old like pop punk videos of the early 2000s. Like it has very much that vibe of like, yeah, I don't know, like people breaking into buildings and wearing crazy masks and stuff. But it's great. I mean, there are these huge concepts going into a work, and like, I don't know, it's just really exciting to see the effort being put into projects like that, where it's like, I don't know, it's a music video. I mean, it's only a few minutes long, but the days and the hours and manpower that goes into it, or people power.
And we'll link to some of these in the post.
Yeah.
With this, so you can check them all out.
No, they're all super fun to watch, and it's just like it's happening here, and that's what's cool, because they're like generally high quality videos that look like they could be, you know, like growing up and watching Top 20 like on VH1 and MTV. It's like you can do it yourself. That's all we're trying to say. Make cool videos all the time. Don't stop doing it. Well,
yeah. Speaking of which, the Spell Runner album, you know, has been getting a lot of attention, and Fuzz Records and Scum Couch just making me think of that. But you know, they did the album listening party last week, and they're getting a lot of play, and they're an interesting band that I think speaks to also like this other side of the scene, the sort of super dark stuff that's going on. There is this larger vibe of this punk, Crampsy sort of like cowboy punk that's going on with them, and Eternal Crimes and some other folks. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that there is this sort of sound locally, and the releases are actually really compelling, and their shows are really compelling too. Yeah. And to see it get a little more attention outside of Albany is very nice. But
it's exciting, and like seeing local bands show up in like Brooklyn Vegan and Kerrang and things like that. Like that's really exciting, and you know, it may not seem like a huge thing, but it's like getting all these extra eyes on what's happening here, and it just seems like it keeps popping up more and more, which is exciting and fun.
Yeah. And another thing, obviously tonight, or is it tomorrow?
Tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
Hartley's Encore and The Age are playing at the Hollow, and that's going to be another release for Hartley's Encore, and then The Age has a single coming out sometime soon.
Promises.
He's going to get so mad. There's no one I rip on more about pushing for content. But it's good. He wants quality over quantity.
Yeah.
It's good. But
no, my daughter's a huge fan too. So
he's an excellent performer and talent. So we just want you to succeed. That's all. It's a personal message.
So here's something I wanted to talk about. Okay. With all that's going on with like Woodstock anniversary nonsense, There were some cool festival announcements. Are you doing anything this summer? Are you going to go to any of them? I know you've been to some decent festivals in the past summer, so I'm just wondering.
I haven't even gone that far. If we're going to be, like, really honest at this moment, I'm just trying to get through each day.
Ouch. Wow.
I haven't made any summer plans yet. I actually am really surprised that it's already, like, close to summer, and I don't know. I saw the Afropunk lineup.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Afropunk lineup, but...
Yeah. I'd be down for that. I feel like I always would be. It's just, like, I really like that environment.
FKA Twig's release also sort of coinciding with that. Exactly, she's playing. Yeah. That's neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of, and like the one thing is that there's a lot of people in this lineup of Afropunk that I haven't necessarily heard of, which is like cool, I think, because I like going to places and finding new people, and like I think that's way more compelling than everybody like crowding into one space trying to see this one person, because it's just so overwhelming. It's like, that's why I'm not a huge fan of like arena shows, because it's just at this point, why are we all here? It's just like too big, too much.
No, I can't find a reason to go to an arena show anymore. It's so detached, and it's more about waiting in line for concessions and standing next to drunk people. And
being like super far away.
Yeah.
I know this is gonna sound really juvenile, but I just looked at the tour lineup for the Jonas Brothers, and I'm like, you know what? I think they could have some humility at this point in their career and just like play a small place. It's just like rude of them at this point.
Where do the Jonas Brothers play?
They're playing like massive arenas, and I'm like, who do you think you are?
Wow, when did that happen?
I don't know.
I thought didn't they like recently
listen, if Aaron Carter can play Jupiter Hall, so can you.
But haven't the Jonas Brothers played like Upstate Concert Hall?
No.
Like not like recently, but like I don't know. I have to look that up. I don't know. There are a few shows that I'm like ultra excited about this summer, and I'm not gonna go right where you think. I hope. Okay. Wow, I just totally forgot it. Flying Lotus at Mad Smoker.
Oh yeah.
Like I can't even. Okay, so they had Mitski, who you saw. I had tickets, but didn't get to see, and you were saying the show is absolutely phenomenal, right?
Yeah, it was great. I do wish it was outside. That the room that they have in the indoor Mass Mocha space is kind of like this high school auditorium.
Yeah, I've seen a few shows there, and
which was it's like I really enjoyed the show because she's a really good performer, which it was exciting because I'd never seen her perform before, and I was like, it's really easy for people who are soloists to just kind of like stand there and be like, here I am, and like this is my voice, and I'm really good at what I do, so like you're welcome. But she like leaned right into it and does like these crazy like acrobatic things, and is like sick. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I was when I interviewed Zia Anger, she was talking about the choreography that went into the show, and apparently that was like maybe the first night that new choreography debuted.
Oh, nice.
And she was just raving about the work that she does on that to make sure it is more than just a
it's like a performance piece, like a massive and everything flows together, and she like doesn't talk at all during the thing, which these people in front of me were like, she didn't say anything to us. And I was like, that's amazing. Like, address your people. Where I love when it's just like my personal preference when people just go on stage and they do their thing and they're like, okay, bye, and like, great. Love that you're just like doing your thing and you don't feel like you have to say
there is an awkwardness to this sort of and sometimes it's just rote. They say everything the same in every show, and if you watch videos of the shows, there's like Queens of the Stone Age, or something.
And it has the potential to go downhill so fast. Like I was just thinking the other day like about the worst concerts I've ever seen, and I like went on Instagram and just like made a question thing for it, and I was like asking everyone, and a lot of people were talking about like, oh, this person like threw up on stage, oh, like somebody was saying bullshit to somebody, oh sorry, are like talking to the crowd and being really demeaning. Like, and the only reason I brought it up is because I saw one of those like at SPAC, like in 2009 or something. They had one of those concert things where a bunch of bands come. It was like Pix 106 or something.
Yeah.
And Shinedown came and just like would not shut up. Like he was interrupting his own songs. Like first of all, it's a terrible band.
So he must have been drunk.
And he was like cutting off his own songs to go on these rants. And I was in the mall the other day and heard like 3 Shinedown songs in a row. And I was like,
they have a big fan base locally. And I thought they had maybe something to do with
understand
Schenectady. I don't know what it is. Yeah. No, it's.
yeah. I just like that. It was like burned into my brain. And that's what happens with those. Like bad shows can really just like stick with you. And that's like, I've just been thinking about that for a few days ever since I heard fucking Shinedown in the mall. And I'm like,
mostly my bad shows are when you realize that you're on the bill that they see as sort of like the quick hit filler tour.
Yeah.
Like it's not the premiere of the album, so they're not going to play a ton of stuff. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't even want the new whole album, but sometimes like that's okay because at least they're playing like a full set. But when you realize you're in like, they're only going to do 40 minutes, they're the headliner, and maybe they'll play a medley of like their old songs. Like if you're playing a medley, don't even bother. Don't show up. Like if you're a serious musician, band, whatever, I don't want a medley of your songs. And hardcore bands are guilty of this. There are metal bands that are guilty of it. Like, it drives me nuts. I don't want to pay $40 for a ticket and you only play like 5 songs from your new album and then play a medley of your greatest hits. Yeah. Like, I don't need to hear your greatest hits, but don't pander to us. Yeah, please.
Anyways, that was a tangent.
But I think Flying Lotus should be insane. It's just, the guy's nuts, and I don't even know what to expect from it. So it's an exciting show. And then,
I'm excited for Cardi B to come to SPAC.
Are we sure that's going to happen?
I mean, feel like
every time something good happens, there's problems. I'm scared.
That's true. Also, I feel like it was a mirage. Like, I saw the announcement for it, and then I went to go find tickets, and it's just like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like looking in the wrong places, but I'm like, seems like it's not actually sure that's going to happen. Like, maybe SPAC can't handle Cardi B, and they're like aware of that. But that'd be amazing. I want to sit on the lawn and hang out.
Yeah, they had the $20 ticket thing. I was trying to figure out what I'd be least embarrassed to attend there.
I got the Heart. I got Heart tickets.
Oh.
That's pretty good, right?
I guess. I don't know. I've never seen Heart.
That'd be good.
Yeah. I'm thinking about one of the metal shows, obviously. Or there's a part of me that would enjoy a Beck concert. Not that I really ever need to see or hear a Beck song again. I mean, I don't know. It's like, I don't hate him. There are some of his albums that I like more than others. But at the same time, I feel like my daughter really likes a single off the new album. But I feel like all the Beck stuff sort of just blends into itself at this point. I don't know.
That's fair.
Maybe that's...
I feel like there are a lot of people that I say that about, but then in the back of my head, I'm like, you could say that about literally anyone. That
I don't know, because, all right, so here's the Beck thing. He uses, he goes back and forth between the regular producers. So I guess his latest was by the Chemical Brothers, which is someone, he's used before. And then he uses, he used, Danger Mouse, who I think is terrible and, ruins albums. But you can he has these archetypes for albums that he puts out. And if you've heard one, you sort of know where things are going. And I do think there's some artists that avoid that. Mm-hmm. And yes, he's known for being daring, but daring within his comfort zone. Yeah. And I don't know. I just don't know that there's anything he can do that would surprise me or make me happy anymore. So anyway, sorry.
You're just like, you guys had your time and you've moved on.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah, exactly.
What are those breakups called? The one that Gwyneth Paltrow did with the Coldplay guy?
Conscious uncoupling, yes.
You consciously uncoupled from Beck.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think I really liked I mean, this is sad. I didn't like his early albums during the grunge era as a kid, but I did like Garrow for some reason. I really liked that album. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
So
those Live Nation shows, it's just starts conflict.
But there's the Dinosaur Jr. Kurt Vile show, and Kurt Vile is coming to the area. Obviously, Sleep I'm excited for. They're, even though it's at the mall, I'm going.
Seems like a lot of people are going to X.
X is big, yep. I've been talked into seeing Judas Priest, even though I'm not the biggest Judas Priest fan. And then, obviously, I'm super excited for Basilica Soundscape, which isn't until September. But I hear there's some really big surprises in store on top of Low and some of the most compelling artists going today. So I'm excited to get back to that because we had a crazy experience at Drone.
Yeah, for sure. It's a long night. No, it was fun. I enjoyed it. It's just because it was jarring because last year I did sleep for a while, I think. I don't know exactly how long. But
You were more prepared last year.
I was really prepared. Well, I was decked out. I had like the LLB sleeping bag. I was ready to go.
Yeah, I showed up unprepared both times.
Oh, I was completely unprepared this year.
Yeah.
It was like I knew. I feel like the whole week before I was like, great, drone this weekend. You're gonna get this and this and this, and like you're gonna like rest up, and that just like did not happen. Like my whole morning was a mess.
Yeah, no, I was in a similar position. My daughter was not happy; she wasn't going, and I was thinking about bringing her because there are actually lots of kids there.
Yeah.
My mom wanted to go; she was unhappy, and as you saw on Facebook, she intends to go next year. I can't have her babysit, so that was a wake up call.
But it was great. I really loved. It was Autonomy was like an incredible. That was like what 3 a.m. or 4. It was like in that kind of like mad hour of like, is it day, is it night?
Well, here's the thing.
And I really liked that set a lot.
There were the surprise sort of stuff happened at night.
Right.
And the louder stuff happened at night. The one set by Big Brave and Jessica Moss, who weren't announced. No one knew that they would be performing. And you came up to me like, hey, someone in the crowd said that's Big Brave. And I'm like, well, I know that's Jessica Moss, so I'm pretty sure. But and then I had to get closer. But it was so dark. Like it was mysterious and loud and violent. And then in the morning, I hadn't slept, but you're woken up technically.
Yeah.
And then it gets very...
The idea is that there would be a gentle wake up, but nobody, those of us who weren't asleep at all, were like, what is happening?
Yeah. So, but the theme is like there's catharsis and this like loud noise at night, and then it gets calmer and more repetitive in the morning. But for me, it was like, I need the loud to stay awake. And at this point,
No, it makes sense.
But
Jeremy was really good too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Jeremy Toussaint Baptiste, who it turns out knows some friends of ours, and also is has done a bunch of shows at MoMA and does some really provocative stuff. We hope to have him here to play with the organ sometime to hit some low notes. But yeah, it was a really, it's always an experience. Whereas
and it was cool for us to dig a little bit deeper. I mean, because last year we were there as spectators, pretty much.
Yep.
We were there to kind of like check it out, and that's why I did sleep. And this year we were kind of like running around and doing things, and Brendan and Zeb were doing the amazing work of filming the entire thing.
Yeah, so we will have a lot to share video-wise in the coming
which is
weeks.
Exciting. I don't know if we landed on like how we're gonna.
Yes, I mean I do believe we have, but the first should be a recap, like a brief recap. Zeb wants to do that, but then I think he really does want to do every performance that they have. Will be insane.
Yeah, it'd be super exciting, and and then we got to talk to people, like some of the performers, and get more of a take on how they prepared their sets, because being a part of Drone is not necessarily like playing other shows where you're playing your own songs. You're like taking your style and turning it into this like general moving thing.
Well, the interview we did with Reg Bloor, so we were sort of in this green room gallery area where the artists were eating food in between and trying to awkwardly set up interviews after they had done this thing that probably took a lot of energy, and particularly for Reg, this was an emotional performance, and she was playing what was it called? The one board? Anyway, it's an old blues instrument. It's like a board with a string and one pickup, and it belonged to Glenn Branca, who she played with forever, who had passed away, and this was essentially a tribute performance. And I knew that, but I sort of was tiptoeing around it, but eventually we got to this place, and it was she was just very emotionally honest, and you could tell that it meant a lot to her to have been there. And it was this extremely badass performance. I mean, like people were just like blown away. And then there she is, so vulnerable and just like admitting that this was sort of cathartic and necessary in some ways to healing, I think. That was really powerful. But also like the connections that are there, like a lot of these folks, like the Jessica Moss and Big Brave, they helped each other out in the music industry, and they're both coming back for Soundscape. But there's a community of folks who do that experimental stuff who come through Basilica, and I think it's important that that community is continuing to evolve and support itself. But
yeah, and it's cool to see Basilica getting that kind of attention, like from Pitchfork and all that fun stuff. Everybody wants to be in Pitchfork.
Well, you know, I believe it may have started as a Pitchfork event because Brandon Stousey was, you know, at Pitchfork when, and then now he's not. But but you know, we scooped them about the soundscape.
If you've seen the earliest photos of the Soundscape lineup, you can see David's reflection in the window as he took a selfie / photo evidence of the lineup poster.
Yeah, that was a mistake. But anyway. And so the last thing I just want to talk about is obviously we have videos coming out from Thou, hopefully soon, and the Brule County Bad Boys, and we are looking to have more people involved in the videos and maybe some shows coming up.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in working together, get at us.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to play some shows, if you want to do a 3 songs feature, we're definitely looking to work with people, and we're working on making some shows happen in the area.
In cool spaces. I'm excited about it. So
yeah, it's very exciting. A lot of cool collaborations happening. I hate using that word with people, like, because it sounds like I'm doing it on purpose.
Yeah. And it happened in a lot of those interviews for the creatives, and I'm like, are they doing this just to, like, no, it's natural, okay.
No,
but,
because everybody kind of has to work together. So we're all in very close quarters here, even though it seems like we're very spread out. You just, like, there are people who have the resources and are really wanting to make things happen for people, and so they're the first person that you think of, and that's what makes them stand out so much. Like, they're the first person you think of for a reason, because they're doing the work to, like, get themselves out there and, like, get your work out there through events. And
I mean, I'm in complete awe of Jamel Mosley. I mentally, physically, spiritually could not do what he does. I mean, I had this conversation with Amani. He sacrifices all of his time to be at these places and promote all these people, and it's energy I couldn't expend in some ways, even though we run this magazine and that's sort of our job in a lot of ways. Like, the amount of time he gives up, maybe partly because I'm a father, but also partly because I need to focus on myself to make it through the day, which I think you might be able to relate to in some ways. So to see people like that, it blows me away. They are so intentional with their time and their energy. It's very impressive.
Yeah. And it's cool. I don't know, like, just, I feel like doing this whole thing kind of opened my eyes to just, like, noticing the people who are doing little things on a regular basis to make things happen. Like, just last night, I was at a show, Blue Ranger and Lomelda were here. Well, Lomelda was here. Blue Ranger's here already. And the show was supposed to be someplace, and then it was like, oh, we can't play there. But, like, at the last second, Blue Ranger was able to, like, use this space to make the show happen. It's like people are always trying to make sure events are going down, and, like, people have access to events and music and art and dance and everything, theater. Like, all these people are doing all these things to give people a space to hang out and do things. And
the art is consumed. I mean, that's the, to make sure it gets out there.
The time that people spend, like, I don't know, like, it's just crazy, because it's like you like, having a moment, but like, you see a show, but then you have to, like, kind of go back and be like, wow, this took a really, like, like, being in the position, like, where I know what it's like to put on something. It's like there's a lot of time just to like make sure a show is happening, but then like on the artists, and there's like hours and hours of rehearsal and like making sure that everybody's together and scheduling and compensation. It's like there are so many things that go into all of this.
So let's just wrap up with,
Yeah.
I'll put you on the spot again, and I apologize, but are you seeing anything this weekend? Because it's a busy weekend again. Not sure.
I can't even. I know that there's a lot of things happening this weekend. I can't even remember what they are right now because it's like overwhelming.
Well, I think I'm going to Pint Size tonight to see our friend Hans,
Oh yeah.
who was on the podcast
right.
last week.
But
But
Bear Mattress is playing
yeah.
tonight with Sing Charmer
and
Super Dark's DJing.
yeah, it's a cool event. But I'm also, because I'm lame, and also, I read books. Saturday, I think I'm taking my daughter to the Hudson Book Fest, which is also very cool. Just to have that many children's authors in the area. And Spotty Dog, the bookstore bar down there, is involved in it and all. So
Yeah.
But
And John Mulaney and Pete Davidson are coming Sunday night. I think the 10 o'clock show, there's still tickets.
Oh.
But, like, Game of Thrones is at 9. I just, like... My friend asked me if I would go, and I'm sort of like...
it's hard to leave the house when there's Game of Thrones.
Like, what am I going to do? Like, just, like, run to the palace? No.
Like Arya.
Oh, my God. Right. No, we're done now.
And Tyrion has grayscale. Oh!
Oh, no.
All right, we're out. Thank you, guys. See you next week.